Okay, well, so welcome back to track building. I recorded this episode, but I want to re-record it because I don't know if they could get enough job. This won't count for build time because this is more of an episode just for the build playlist rather than building the track itself. So, last episode, part 113, was rebalancing house reset regions. That shit took me way too long. That was recorded. Okay, that's just the wrong day. It says 3/7. Yeah. That was recorded Thursday before the event, right? So 3 days later, the event happened. And there were some things that we wanted to change about the track that we knew about before the race that we couldn't because it was too close to the race. Namely, like bump control here and so on and so on. But there's other things that came up during the race, even, which really sucks. Or during the test or during the test race, namely, like this, for example, bumping people, sadness. That wooden planks. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, it's a bridge. Okay. And so yeah, I made a list of 12-ish things that could be changed, or I would like to change. So like a number of them have to deal with bump control, which is so annoying, man. There's sample skip stuff and there's other stuff. So first, bump control, right? So first things first. There's a question of should I make the bump control a little bit worse, like slower in this section, because there was one thing I learned is that, well, throughout all of this I was going to say that I overestimated people in these difficult sections, which I did, but in general, I just learned that I'm not super great at, like, nailing difficulty. Like, I'm not specifically that, but I'm not really good at predicting how good the driver's going to be. I thought that the tempo skip was going to be too hard, because compared to 28G skip, it was easy. Or like 28G skip is a lot easier than this. And turns out, a lot of people went for this every single lap. I thought that people were going to drive this better, or this better. And turns out, they were driving a little bit slower than I hoped. They were driving a different line. They drove like this, rather than like hugging the blue ice and using wall priority to get around these apexes, right? Or like relying much more on wall priority, right? Like, so I expected worse of them from here than what they actually did, and I expected better of them from here and here, right? So I'm not super great at nailing how good people are gonna actually be for the race. Which, to be fair, like I don't think that's super easy to do, like just in general, because you have to factor in like so many things like practice time, like how and you can't necessarily compare like the final race of the season to all the other races, because race 1 they might practice more, they might fall off more like later mid-season. The end of the season, I don't know, depending on the point standings, they might like practice more or less, and on like months ahead of time. I don't even know what the teams look like for some of the stuff that like I dabbed. Like this was like months in advance, right? So yeah. I also put in hours and hours and hours. Like I think my TT time spent on this section was 13 hours for this TT. Like goddamn. Compared to them who put in way less time. Like I don't think anyone went above 13 hours for the whole track, including whole track TT, just tempo skip practice, difficult sections practice, launcher practice. No one, I think the highest was Yoshi at 11 hours or something, if I'm not mistaken. I can pull it up, I guess. Yeah, so that's something I learned. So let me find it and then we can continue talking about what else. Practice time amounts. Oh wait, do I have it in my downloads? You know what, let me just open a freaking Google Sheet. No, I should probably hide these. I know, that's this and this guy. 12 hours. Okay, so close. But yeah, he was definitely the highest, right? If we look at the graph. Yeah, he's the highest for sure. It's 3.6. Yep. So, yeah. And I also built the track, so I'm a little bit faster because I just know the route ahead of time. yeah. So there's like, but like I don't know. They're also just better than me. It's hard to. I think it's hard. That might just be copium, but I think it's just hard to get like precise numbers. And like I said before, when you have bump control that is like this precise, like, or like when you have bump control that punishes you this little, precision matters much more, right? If your bump control punishes you 2 seconds for failing, then it doesn't matter if you're off by 0.2 seconds. It's like at worst it's 1.8 or 2.2. But then right? If you do bump control is 0.5 seconds, then at worst, if you're off by 0.2, you're 0.3 or 0.7. And those are very different, right? Like ratio-wise, 0.2, like 0.2 divided by 0.5 is like 40%, right? But 0.2 divided by 2 is equal to 10%. So like it's 4 times more effective to be 2 tenths off, or 2 times more impactful than 2 tenths off compared to expected, right? So like as you lower the time loss from really anything, bump control, shortcut fails, kind of similar, I guess, etc. The precision matters a lot more, right? So, and I don't think that there's been any tracks that really push lowering bump control amounts. I think. I can be wrong. I really have not been paying attention much to like track builder, like new tracks or anything nowadays. So, anyways, yeah. So that's the first thing is considering making trying to adjust for my labbing habit and making this route slower overall. The second thing is nerfing jumping into the bump control really early on in the section. We saw, I think, Martinez do this. I think everyone thinks it's named that this is a somewhat viable strategy. Martin got 6th, which is not good for him, I think. Let me pull up the... Oh yeah, spoilers. Martin got 6th. Yeah, sorry. Oopsies. Well, whatever, man. Whatever. Let's see here. Martin averaged 5th. That's adding this, right? So like, yeah, I don't know. Like it's half the time he's in podium, half the time he's like top 8, I guess. But yeah, 6th is like okay for him, but like he wants to do better. Obviously, he wants to be podium. Like 6th is higher than his average of 5th. So he did worse than normal, but like even then, it's just like it doesn't feel good, right? So, and like the thing is, like I'm not saying on like. First, I'm not nerfing this to the ground. I'm not making this 1.5 seconds here. I'm only going to hopefully increase it by like 0.2 or something. But like, yeah. Oh, right. I can also copy those over. Ooh. There's yeah, my first attempt at recording this episode, I copied over like a bunch of changes I made on the Summit server. I'm on DNS right now. But I want to get the TT for like the Deadfish tab or whatever. Not Deadfish tab, but I want to move that over to here as well. Probably. Anyways. Yeah, so I'm only make this a little bit slower, so it's not as valuable. Which that means that you can like mess up later on, and like intentionally mess up later on. And basically, you can do what you would do here and just fall in here, but just do it later. But the thing is that you actually have to get through. Yeah, you just have to drive a little bit of it, right? It's not like you just skip the whole section, right? So that's an idea I'm considering. But yeah, I'm not like 100% gonna do all these. Like some of these I might not do. Like I just wrote these down as ideas to consider at least. Then there's like bump control at the ends. Problem with bump control at the ends of sections is that like at least like here you have all the time in the world to like, especially given like how you drive this last section, to get them from here point A to point B. So it's not easy to balance. But if you mess up right here, then like let's put this aside, right? Let's say that you hit this apex, now you just have no velocity compared to people who like don't mess up, who have velocity, and like point A to point B is like the same A to B. It's just that now you have no velocity, and like that's really hard to like get down to a certain amount, right? Which is why this is otherwise. But the problem was people started driving in here and falling down under the ice, like under this level. So I had to add these guys. But now it's just that much slower to mess up like this, and now it's just like way slower to mess up the last apex, the very last thing. You know, if you mess up early, you lose like a little bit of time. If you mess up the very last thing, you lose way more time. And like I think everyone's criticizing that. I agree with them. I think it's stupid, but like, you know, that was just, you know, I didn't think that people would actually fall through intentionally. Like I was like, that's stupid. Like I don't know, bro. Again, I will say it's been like months since I've done some of this shit. Like I don't remember I don't know why this is here. Like this glass pane, right? Blip, I'm gonna get back to this. But like Blip got stuck on here, and I'm like, I don't remember why the fuck that. I don't know why that's here. But yeah, so I'd ideally like to not have to punish you way more at the end. And the same thing goes for like over here. Like if you miss this wall tap, it's like you just don't have any velocity this way, so like you're gonna lose way more time, like right? In theory, right? I'll get back to this later, but yeah, I want to fix this as well. Oh wait, no, I should talk about it right now. So yeah, so point number 3 is I want to fix the last apex over here. Somehow I have to figure that out, and then point number 4 is I want to fix bump control for like right here, missing this wall tap. And how I'm thinking of gonna do this guy, I don't know how I'm gonna do that guy that much, but I can look into it. There's gonna be a lot of small adjustments, I think, at least. This guy, I think I'm gonna use reset region. And like when I was making this, I was like, yeah, you know what, like you can't win them all. I had that kind of mindset. I was like I can't do anything right here. Like this is the best I can do. Like you just drop down and like, but that wasn't the best you can do. You can actually reset them further later on, and like have them rejoin from like the outside or something. So I'm gonna probably do like a reset region, and yeah. Although I'm gonna have to make sure that like I minimize how much faster it is to drive into it intentionally, right? I have to keep that consideration in mind. Yeah. Okay. So that's number 4. I guess no, I swapped it. Yeah. So houses section was 3. It's like what I just talked about was number 3, and 4 was that's the apex jumps. So like here's some things I can do. I can make the apex water, which would lift you up. Kind of like how I do it right here. Right, that's an option, I guess. Because it doesn't matter how, like, it doesn't matter what the bottom looks like. It just only matters like what the top looks like. Which is like, you know, it lets me dodge the issue of people falling through the hole, and using the same route as if you would hit this and fall down. Since, you know, instead of falling down, you'd be falling up, he says. But then you also like have this right here, and I'm not sure how this would interact with this. So yeah, I don't know. And also then like if you did water, then I'd have to move the wall over a little bit, because like yeah, if you had this be water, you'd have to have the boat like extend like all the way out to like here, and then like, you know, how's that gonna work? And then like yeah, so that's a lot of stuff to think about. Also, I could make the hole smaller. I was scared that people were going to hit this apex and then somehow like bounce back onto the road. But at the very least, like I could just add more ice like right here. There's not have to be like, I think there only has to be 2 blocks. Like the only way that you get back onto this road is to be like full 180, right? Which like is possible, but I don't know who in the right mind would be doing that. And yeah, even then, like it's like I don't even know if it's consistent. Like I don't know. I have to try from like back here, I think. Okay, yeah, you can, I guess. But like I don't know who would be trying to do that. And then that happens, and that's just like, bro, I can add like a fall hole right here or something. I don't know. Like just like punch this out, and then like, oh, now we have another fall hole though. I don't know. I can do like this or something. I can just build this now and just forget about it. That's a good idea. I'd like that idea. Sure, I guess. I don't know. And then if you like do what I just said, you like fall into the hole and perish. And then like you can like do like this or something, and then like this or something, and then like bang. Sure, I guess, I don't know. I think that was stupid what I just did. Oh yeah. Sure, I don't know. Sure, whatever. Yeah, so like, if you move the hole up to like right here, then that means you can't carry nearly as much speed, which will kill this whole route. So like, the thing is, if this is just a viable solution to fix dropping in early, like, and also, yeah, like, if it continue like all the way to here, if that's just a viable solution, then I don't even have to worry about like doing any water stuff here. Like, if it's just as fast to fall in intentionally as it is to like hit the apex, then we're good, right? So if filling in the hole here fixes that issue, then we're good. Yeah, so that's the last bump control thing I have written down. Otherwise, the next step is temple skip. I hate temple skip. To wait, I don't know if you fixed any of the issues. And I'm like, yeah, like this iteration didn't, or like we still had people hitting temple skip a bunch, and that's awesome. So that's cool. The main issues though were the two I presented, like conflicting with each other, which were one, overtaking with the skip while still not having to skip, theoretically being able to let you run away with the race. I think still like blocking route, starboard gimmick, temple skip is a good like it helps absolutely, because you can still overtake while lowering how much you gain from the skip. So like, if you hit the skip, let's say that the skip saves you 1 second every time you hit it, right? In theory, if you hit 100% of the time and it's 20 laps, that'll save you 20 seconds. But if you only save half a second, right, then the maximum amount of time goes from 20 to 10, right? If it's still 20 laps, right? So you can have a lower time save from the skip, but still get an overtake. That fundamentally is true, and that fundamentally helps temple skip achieve both goals. That I did correctly, but balancing it, not super great. Again, like I said, it's too easy as is right now. People are hitting it a lot, like going for it a lot. We did some polls for 282 red skip, and we also did the same exact polls for temple skip. I don't remember the results, but anyways, so there's things that we can do to try to nerf how often people go for it. Obviously, like the three big things with a skip are time saved for hitting it, time lost for failing it, and difficulty, right? Those are the three main things. You can, if you had a shortcut that saved you 3,000 seconds but lost you, like 1 second for failing it, then like it's just gonna be about who can hit the shortcut like first, right? And like end the race earliest. But if you had a shortcut that saved you a second but lost you 3,000 seconds, no one's gonna take that, because if you fail it, then they're just going to actually lose the race just on the spot, right? So, but if you had a shortcut that saved you 3,000 seconds but lost you 1 second, but was also like impossibly difficult, no one's gonna do it, because like, if you're never gonna hit it, then what's the point? You're just gonna lose 1 second every time you try it, right? So like, again, like those are the three main things, like time saved, time lost, and difficulty. Time save is what we're concerned about. Like I said, the maximum theoretical amount you can get from hitting the skip is like, if you hit every single lap, and so it's the number of laps times time save is the maximum you can do. I don't want to nerf it too hard, although I think half a second might be too much. So then I'm thinking maybe like 0.3 or something, I don't know. I initially had written down make temple skip harder, but then I was like, I don't know. I don't remember exactly why I swapped, but like, I think it was because of what I was talking about. Like, I can try to, again, like I said earlier, I can try to balance the difficulty, but as you can see, I'm not super good at that. I'm not super good at nailing the difficulty that like would work for. Yeah, I think I don't know. Like, yeah, let's take a look at that. But those polls I did. So the exact same thing for Season North. Wow, that's great. I added this specifically so that people like these wouldn't actually vote, because like we've seen people like fucking vote, and like bruh, So we didn't get everyone to vote or put their whatever down, but yeah, like, so actually, like, a good number of people like didn't actually go for that often. Like, this is what I would want. I would want people to like do it like around like here, right? Go for it like a few times during the race. Even maybe up to like 10 times out of 24, like almost half the time. I guess half the time doesn't sound that nice. I don't know. This would be ideally, right? This would be ideal. But we had some people go for it like a bunch. Yeah. And then I hate this bug. It's so annoying. Yeah. As for reasons why they did go for the shortcut, it was an attempt to improve race space, was the main thing. There was some strategy attempts to try to get into boat tap range. There was this, which I thought was cool. Although Yoshi, I think, only did it a couple times. No, he didn't even think about it, but he okay, yes. Alright. That's cool. Yeah, no, this is not at all. This is very sad. I don't like that people actually like did this. Hotspot did the same thing, I think, at least for Twitchy Red. I think it's like someone else did. I think like Faxia or Mopek or someone did this as well for Twitchy Red. There was this as well, which sure. But yeah, okay. Like, this is what I'd want. I wanted to attempt to improve race space. And as for why they never did it, it was consistency and like just they were scared of failing, basically, and they didn't think that it would be worth it enough for them. So, okay, that sounds like things I should think about when I actually get around to dealing with this. I'm not dealing with this right now, so I'm not going to deal with it. But yeah, it's like those are probably helpful polls. We'll see, and then. So that was, yeah, so 5 is, okay, well, I guess 5 is, yeah. 6 was lowering time saver and tumble skip. Previously, I had written down make tumble skip harder. Again, I'm probably just going to like redecide on what I want to do later on. If I'm going to make it harder, if I'm going to lower time save, or, number 7, if I'm going to make it a little bit more punishing. JHS, I'm getting one guide so hard, but like, JHS recorded a video where like he lost less time than expected. One thing, by the way, is that I balanced this by 316 every single time. Most people I saw did not 360 this, and I'm like, bro, I don't think it's faster or slower by at least that much to 360 or not 360, but like, I don't know, like, I don't know. I was like, oh, no one's like not 360 this. Like, how do you even not 360 this? I tried. I was fucking dying. Like, I have way too much speed. And so somehow people fucking did it. I don't know. But yeah, number 5 is more interesting now. This is not something I considered at all while making this. Once again, I have my own like egotistical thoughts of like, oh, I'm like, I do think I am the best track builder. Like, whenever I think about that, I'm like, if I were to ask anyone to build a track, I would ask myself. Like, if I were to commission someone to build a track, I would choose myself, right? Just because like I know, and like it kind of makes sense because like I know what kind of tracks I want. First off, but also just I trust myself more to like research and like think deeply about things than I would expect of anyone else. I don't see people like making spreadsheets and labbing stuff, even though that never fucking works. Maybe this should lose money art. Well, I don't know. I think it's so. I'm not gonna get into that right now. I think like I said, I if I were to choose anyone to build a track, I would choose myself. Because I'm most confident in myself compared to like other people. But so, seeing something like this, where I just didn't think about this at all, well, that's a hit to my ego. Basically, this tumble skip shit works if you're right behind someone. But if they are out of cyborg gimmick range, just barely, right? Like, if they're, like just a little bit further ahead, then when you hit the skip behind them, they don't even have to dodge you, because they get here before your ghost gets here, right? So, like, your ghost can be, like, right here. Your ghost can be like right here, whatever, like right here, right? Like you're getting there, right? You're getting there, but then like you're just a little bit too late, and then they just drive on the main line, and then they drive through you and bump you right here, which is not great at all. So I want to add a way for you to dodge. So this wall is not here to do that. This wall is here to prevent you from going over here and blocking them from trying to dodge you, right? So the idea is, like if P1 takes a normal route, P2 goes to double skip, and P2 in range, right? We're talking about in range, like he's actually gonna cyber gimmick him. P1 can just dodge them for free, get in tandem, and bing, bang, bang, done. Bing, bang, boom, done. And that's it. There was the idea of adding counterplay, where P2 can predict that P1's gonna go this way, the alternate route, and just fly over here, hit this wall, and just block them, right? And I was like, that's dumb. That's just I don't want counterplay in this instance, because now it's just a blocking route. I want this to be a cyber gimmick where you can just get in tandem, there's no blocking at all, right? Sure, P1 is going to lose a little bit of time because I have to take a slower route, but at least you're not bumping and losing everything. That reminds me of race starts. I guess I can talk about that if I remember. I like that one. But anyways, yeah, so that's why this wall is here, is to prevent you from flying to the right and all the way over here. So even if you hit this wall, you're out of the way for the most part, until right here. But that should be well more than enough time for P1 to get around you and not get bumped, right? I could turn this into a somewhat equal to this, but or equal-ish. You might lose a little bit of time. I don't know. Basically, I want to add a way for you to dodge that situation I explained, where you get phased through bumps right here. Because I think that's not very healthy. Because then that means that you can't what I want this skip to be. Fundamentally, I don't want this skip to theoretically, this does not have to be an overtaking mechanic at all. The only reason why why I made it an overtaking mechanic was just because specifically Temple Skip has received criticism that when I try to change it to be a pace thing, people are like, you can't overtake with it, and that's so fucking stupid. I really don't have to listen to them. I can make this whatever the fuck I want, but out of spite or whatever, I was like, oh, let's just make it be both. Cool. And there are advantages to having a cyber gimmick be like this, when namely one, people don't practice blocking routes for cyber gimmicks. This has just been an age-old thing. People do not do it. This gives them a reason to do it, because it's the faster route. The faster route is the blocking route. You're gonna want to practice this, and so on. And again, this allows you. You can get overtakes without it being that much faster, sure. But again, if you don't care about overtakes, then that's a moot point. Anyways, what was I trying to say? Ideally, I want this to be a race pace thing. I don't want it to be a race pace defining thing, but I want it to be an option for you to try to boost your race pace at certain situations. Okay, there's 10 laps left. I'm P2. I'm currently 3 seconds behind P1. I need to get into range of an overtaking mechanic. I'm going to go ahead and risk it, because I don't think, based on these previous 15 laps or so, that I'm going to catch up to him based on normal pace. I want to use the gimmick. Use the skip, and to hit the skip enough to get up and catch up to him, right? Or etc., right? That's what I want the skip to be about. I don't really care that much for overtaking. That's more for just out of spite. But ideally, I'd want it for race pace, right? But again, I wouldn't want to define your race pace, and by that I mean I don't want you to go for this every single lap, right? That's not what I want. Now, is this achievable? I don't know. I don't know if it's really feasible that much to have a skip that people are too scared to take during the main race, but towards the end where people need to catch up, or in crucial moments where they need to catch up in a certain amount of time, I'd rather oh yeah, let's start going for it. I don't know how feasible that is. I don't know. But that's what I want ideally, right? So I don't want, going back to what I was talking about with the issue over there, if this is a race pace thing, and you get punished for trying to use it to catch up to someone, right? Because you're not, this happens when you're not in range to actually block them or boat tap them or whatever, right? That's why this happens, because you're just barely too far behind. if you can't use the skip to catch up to them and get within range of a bow tap, then what's the point, right? Like you can still, I guess, use this for, like, battling people who are on different pit strategies than you, like different pit counts than you. But like that's cool, I guess. Sure, like that's a reason to use it. But like I want more, right? I want you to be able to like catch up to people like actually in front of you, like on track on the same pit count, right? So yeah, I'm gonna ideally want to add a route where you don't block, but you also can't get bumped, right? So you can just use it for pace. But you still have the option to block if you want to overtake with it, right? Now, how feasible is this? I don't know. Currently, my first idea is add a fall pit right here. I don't know. Like, I'd want to remove these lightning rods. You can just drive into here and then make this blue ice or something. But the problem is there's also packed like a checkerboard, because I don't want this to be faster. Like I can nerf this route more by adding like packed ice here, and I don't know, this is gonna have to come back to like how I'm gonna want to adjust this. If I'm gonna want to lower the time save, then I'm gonna have to accordingly make this route lose you more time, because otherwise, let's say that I go from 0.5 to 0.1 time save, for some reason. I think it's currently balanced such that like you end up in like an equal-ish tandem, right? But like if I didn't adjust this, but I made this 0.4 slower, then even if you took this, you might just end up still just actually ahead, like not even in tandem, but like still ahead, right? Which kills the point. So I have to nerf this as well, which kind of sucks, because now, like, if you want to dodge someone, you're losing more time, which pushes it more towards like the bumping time loss range. So far away, granted, right? You're still like at most losing 1 second by taking this route, probably at worst, but like, whatever. I think I actually haven't timed this, but like, yeah. So you can add more pack decks at the start, which I might have to do anyway. So sorry, getting back to this, I could make this blue ice, but then I don't want to make it blue ice, because then if you take this route, then it's gonna be faster. But I could also just add more pack decks right here, which will account for that and make your speed even lower, which will lower the time loss and kind of like counteract that. But I also don't know if I'm gonna be doing that anyway, because if I make this time save lower, then I'm going to want to make this time loss larger, so I might not have enough space to do a lot of packed ice to counteract adding blue ice right here. So it's kind of, I don't know. But I guess we'll get to that when I get to it. Yeah, my main idea right now is just removing these 2 rods, or maybe 3 rods, probably 2 rods, probably 2 rods, and then, allow you to drop to this. I also want to make sure that you can actually consistently get over there, and that's not too different from, like, hitting the main whatchamacallit, main route, main wall tap. That should be doable. I don't know, that should be doable. I could remove this guy, but then I'm making this route slower, and like that is an option actually. I could do that. I could hit 2 birds with 1 stone. Can try removing this block, this trapdoor block, to 1 nerf TS success, and 2 allow easier access to non-phase through bump route. Sure, cool. That's an option I didn't consider. Now, I don't know if you're only going to do is like 0.2 by removing this wall tap, but we can toy with that when we get to that. Anyways, yeah, so those are the things I'm going to want to perhaps think about for temple skip. How long has this recording been? 34 minutes. Yeah, nice. Yeah, my first attempt at this episode was just like a 13-minute, like, it was like 2 minutes of like quickly reading through this, and then like 5 to 10 minutes of like copying over changes from Summit server to here, and then just like kind of sitting there and be like, okay, well, I thought this would take longer. I thought this episode would be longer, and I go more into it. And I ended recording, sat there for 5 seconds, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing this again. So yeah, here we are. Anyways, let me have a few other miscellaneous things I wanted to fix. First off is a bit of a controversial one, because I'd imagine the sentiment right now is overtaking mechanics equals good, and it's just that plain and simple, and like, that's what people think. I think otherwise. I think different. F1 Mercedes, or is it Mercedes? I don't know. That one F1 meme, think different, is like in the off-road or whatever. Or you like that linked picture. Hold on. Think different. I think an issue with this track is leeching race pace, because as it stands, let's say that you're in tandem with someone, right? You're in tandem with someone, you're going into here, you make it through here, you're still in tandem. Let's say that you mess up and break tandem, the other person does not mess up, so they are ahead of you right here. Okay, now you're behind them. Dang, I got punished for my mistake. Anyways, boat taps back into tandem. Okay, let's say that the same thing happens here. The guy you're in tandem with gets through fine. You mess up. And then, oh no, I lost tandem. I got punished. How terrible. And then you get out, and then you're in boat tap range again. And you do this super easy corner, and you go over here, and then whatever happens, like you either both hit skip or both, like, don't go for skip, and then you boat tap back in, and then you're just in. And then, okay, well, at least now I have blah, blah, blah. And now we're just right back in here, and then you're in tandem, and you go here, and then you fail, and then you lose tandem, and then the other guy doesn't do it, and then you end up right behind them, and you boat tap back in, and it's like, bro, like, it doesn't matter if you make mistakes, because you can just boat tap back in. And like, this is the issue, not specific to this track, although it's pretty big on this track, I think, but like, just in general, like, having too many overtaking mechanics, I think, allows you to just sit and leech off another driver's pace. I could be the worst driver in Summit 2, but if I have Mafiosa like right in front of me, I can just boat tap in, and as long as I don't make too crazy of a mistake, right? I can just lose tandem or break tandem safely, still be in boat tap range, get back into boat tap range, get back into tandem with him with a boat tap, and then my lap times are now equal to Mafiosa's, right? So now I can be the slowest driver on the grid, but I have pace equal to Mafiosa's. So now we're not rewarding people for having a high pace. We're rewarding people for finding people at high pace and sticking with them. And and that's, I don't know, man. I think that sounds a bit silly. So I think that obviously we need an overtaking mechanic, right? Because like hoping that someone makes a mistake is like, okay, on this track that's not too inviolable of a strategy. But the problem is, like people are going to make mistakes, but the problem is, like, they're not going to lose enough from it unless it's here pre-patch, or unless it's here as it is right now, or last wall tap for you to get into tandem with them, right? In theory, and I'm fine with that. I don't need you to make I don't care about generating overtaking mechanics with this difficult section. I really don't care. Because if I were for me to do that, I would need this to punish you harder, and that's not the point. I want this to be a race pace thing, not an overtaking thing, right? Right. So I'm gonna need at least one overtaking mechanic, and I'm gonna have this be this area. I don't care for this boat tap. This boat tap only allows you to get back into tandem, it's that much easier. But the thing is, now, if you remove this boat tap, then that means you have to stay alive through both this section and this section to get to the overtaking mechanic, to leech off. Granted, I think this is still feasible. I'd imagine that it's like, if you mess up both these sections in a row, like, okay, let's say that you're in tandem, like right here. You mess up this section, they don't. You mess up this section, they don't. You're probably out of range. But I don't expect people to mess up both in a row frequently enough, right? Especially for one person to do it and for the other person to just hit both of them successfully, right? I don't see that happening. So I think leeching will still probably be somewhat of an issue, but I think that this is causing it to be way bigger of an issue. Now, leeching has not been explored as a concept that much. I think, right? Like, you know, I brought up the idea of counterplay, and that has picked up a little bit. But I don't think, like, you know, like, it's been a thing. Like, counterplay has been a thing, like a Boingberg, right, for example. It's just that it hasn't been, like, addressed and, like, properly, like, explored. I think leeching has been a thing just naturally. Like, look at, like, 2HG0S, right? And, like, I think that opened their eyes a bit more about it. But, like, it's been a thing. Like, the thing is, like, people can be like, oh, I can just DRS back up. You can do that. Hold on, let me put my... You can do that for literally any overtaking mechanic. It's just DRS is just so much brainlessly easier. Like, there's no execution barrier for doing it. Which I guess, like, I don't know. Like, you literally just have to drive in a straight line. You have to drive in a straight line. That's literally all you have to do for DRS, right? Compared to things in boat taps, or even like cyberworld games, you just have to like nail like predicting where they are gonna go and like positioning yourself there and like and driving the route fast enough, like, you know, whatever. Yeah, you gotta. There is a counterpoint to what I've said about leeching is exactly that, where it takes skill to actually use the overtaking mechanic. It's not like boat taps are 100% guaranteed. Well, depending on the boat tap. Some boat taps might be basically 100%. It's just, I don't know. I haven't actually looked at boat tap success rates. I have seen people fail boat taps before, even on this track, right? So it's not like it can't happen. It's just, I don't know. I haven't looked into enough if it's a plausible thing to happen. Also, I'm gonna fucking barrier ceiling to this shit. This is stupid. I don't care for your BS. The fucking, oh yeah, let's start at the top of the waterfall thing again. Whatever, man. Yeah, like starting up here and like landing like right here to get one tick of faster time. Whatever, man. You can still do the same thing here. Fuck you. You know what? I'm also just gonna do this. Well, that's fun, though, isn't it? ReZero light barrier. Bang. That looks fine. Actually, lighting, I can't even see it. Cool. That helps a little bit, huh? Yeah, I was messing with this a little bit. I don't know if I recorded it, but I was messing with like starting like right here and like landing on the water and like having like higher speed. It was technically like half a block per second faster by the time you hit the start line or something. I think, or at most 1 meter per second, right? Anyways, that's cool. What was I talking about? Right. Via success rate of boat taps. Yeah, like I was saying, I haven't looked into it, but from my current understanding, I don't think that the success rate for boat taps is low enough such that leeching won't be a problem. Even if I remove this. Like, I think it's gonna still be a problem, like, even if I remove this, it's just like, you know, if I have this, it's gonna be so much more of a problem, I think. So I'm trying to future-proof this a little bit. Or not even future-proof, like, I'm drawing attention to it, which might be, like, that might be counterproductive, because, like, if I draw attention to it, people might try to use it more, and it might actually become a much larger issue than it otherwise would have been. But I don't know, I think it's still, like, I think it's still something we should, like, protect against as track builders. Anyway, so that's point number 8. Point number 9 is the launcher. I have no idea what I'm doing with race starts, and that has not changed. You know what? Again, I'm learning I'm not super great at predicting things. I thought I was scared of this launcher. I was like turn 2 is an uphill, like, sharp corner, and like that's scary. And like I'm making them do S's, and you know I nerfed the S's because I was like, oh yeah, like you can straight line this shit. Absolutely, you can 100,000% straight line this. Like you have like at least a block to spare. There's not 2 blocks to spare. This is like what, 4 blocks wide? It's 4 blocks wide. Like this does jack shit, right? But I was scared. It's S's. My whole big thing about race starts is like, oh, like so many tracks just like do like a chicane or S's like turn 1, 2, or 3. I'm like, oh, that's not good. And then here I am like doing it as like a turn 3 or turn 4 or whatever, and I was like, bruh. But then and then like you have like a hard braking zone, and like a hard braking zone with like a wall apex, and like and like not much room, and then another chicane thing, and then what happened was nothing happened. They came out in the same exact tandems that they were in, right? They got here in the same exact way. I'm gonna double check my POV. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Like it was actually just like nothing happened, and that begs the question: what is even the point of the launcher if it doesn't like do anything? Because like the whole point is that I'm way scared of throwing them into this chicane, and then this section chicane area as this thing, and then like during the race start, that just sounds like a bad idea, which is why I added a launcher, right? Because I also don't have not much space to add a grid here, right? Because I need to use a straightaway for temple skip bouncing things. But I could have just added one like right here. This would have been fine, right? But like you wouldn't have to do any of this. But like it didn't do shit. So I'm gonna double check race control POV of RC POV. I'm gonna double check this. I probably should not share for the link on screen. I guess I could. Meh, I don't want to. Cool. Alright, hold on. Okay. Oh. That's just a way better start. What the fuck is up with that? What the fuck is up with that? Here we go. What? Look at that shit. Hello? Yo. Like, I know Yoshi is like bad ping or whatever, but like, look at like Mafiosa. Well, Mafiosa had like weird internet shit, right? Yo. We can compare the second grid as well. See how the second grid looks. Second grid looks, I think, okay-ish. P4 and 5 are like acceptable distance. Yeah, that's okay. This is alright. This is a little more like, what the fuck? Mafio's just like in there though already. Like he was so far behind, and now like he's like in there. That just went so wide it looks like, or something. So things are happening. I don't know. Things are happening, right? Although I don't know. Like I think. What the fuck, bruh? Yeah. No. Yeah. Right. Okay. Like. Zip went wide here, but that might just be skill issue. Like I wouldn't want to rely on that, right? It's a similar thing to like how I don't want to rely on people making mistakes for overtaking. Like that's no. So I thought it was 10:45. I was like, bro, I'm missing radar. They're doing nucleotides. I want to look at nucleotides because it seemed like a good track. It's just not decorated like at all. Like there's a little bit of decoration, I guess. You want to call it that, I guess. But like I don't know. Was considering using it for Summit 2, or at least I was. But the problem is I know that Trackies would object to it, and I don't think Jelly would like it either. Trackies would object to 100% decoration. There's just none. Also, yeah, like everyone does a fucking wall tap there. I don't know, man. I thought I didn't like actually test this very much. I don't think I did. It's been months, but like yeah, no. This is where I was scared of, like right here, and like just nothing happens. Like they're all like okay, there's stuff happening in the back of the field, I guess, sure, I guess, but like, but it's like, Yoshi's like almost out of tandem. Like he was already like almost out of tandem from like the start, right? Not almost out of tandem, I guess, but now there's this. And, like, isn't this like chaotic, or was this the test race where it was chaotic? Oh yeah, alright. I'm on Mafiosa, dude. God damn it. Minimap. Like they still seem to just be like, I don't know, Yoshi's out of tandem, and then Yoshi dies here, right? And then then Yoshi dies here, because again, another thing I didn't consider is like following. If you want to like let go of W to like not follow someone, you're just like not have no speed. And I was like, bro, that's so stupid. That's cringe as fuck. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know what can they do about that. Like, I can change the section such that instead of like super large gaps, I do like smaller gaps. But another thing is like, if someone ahead of you is driving so slow that they don't even make the jump, at least you get them out of the way, right? Like that's good for like preventing like an Abs Apple CGP like sneaks past thing, right? Which is like why I kind of did that for like Mega Remake as well. That section, right? That was the idea. Although I think for Mega Remake it's a lot more generous. Like the speed checks, they're a lot more generous. Triple boat tap or double boat tap, bonk. And like, look how more fucked the grid is now. Like, look how fucked that is, right? Like, it just doesn't seem like the indulgence does anything. So I don't know. I might want to revisit that. I might want to actually check out my flashback. I have a flashback of it. I could. Oi, right. Hold on. I have a flashback of it I could check out. Let me write that down. Can look at the flashback recording for a better view of what happened, since my RC POV recording was only looking at Mafiosa area, front couple of tandems. Okay. Yeah, so that's another thing I want to look at is like launcher. What are we even doing here, bro? That's point 9. Point 10 is again adjusting. I say again. I don't know if I said it yet in this recording, but adjusting the checkpoints in the TT. Like, it came up a lot on the stream, like watching the stream, like where like they just wouldn't know what the gaps were because they would change like by multiple seconds, like especially like here or something. Like they would like fall into a reset region, and go over here, and like they like it for a second they'd gain time, they'd gain like multiple seconds on the guy in front of them or like the guy around them who didn't fall into a reset region, but then it would bounce out like right after, like right when they got like here or something, but then it would change again a little bit like right here, and then it's like, I don't know. So I got to do more work on like figuring out checkpoint locations, which for right here it's gonna suck ass, dude. It's gonna be so bad. And I added these things so you can't drive backwards. You can't do any stupid bullshit skips and like drive backwards through here and like hit a checkpoint and turn around. But like I might like, because there's a checkpoint right here, but that's causing the issue of multiple seconds. So like I might have to actually ditch this and just like I guess just make more sure that there's no skips right here or something. I don't know. Because like I'm scared of some bullshit like this, which I think there's barriers here, right? So like, but like just something stupid like you just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna like drive over here and then, or some bullshit, right? It's a boat utils track with elevation, like elevation plus boat racing equals skips generally. Like look at like fucking like not surge, maybe certain not surge, descent, like descent, like. Like, bro, sounds to an old track, goddamn. Anyways, yeah, so the checkpoints for that is on the list. Whether or not I do it, I don't know. I hope I do. I should, but like, it's not, again, it's not a critical thing to the race, and depending on how much time I want to spend on this, I don't know. Because again, like, I'm planning on releasing the track after I fixed all these issues, but like, I don't know, if people start like whining and being like, where's the track? I want to drive the track, which I've heard nothing about, by the way. Like I heard stuff about that kind of during the week, a little bit, actually not even that much during the week, but like there's a little bit during the week, I guess, but like after, I haven't heard anyone ask. So either they got the memo, like, because I said in a few places where like I want to fix everything first and then release it, right? I've said that a few times, some various spots. So either they all saw that and were like, okay, I understand, and they haven't pestered me, or no one actually cares, and I hope it's the first one. Yeah, so that's point number 10. Point number 11 and 12 were more minor things. We saw some, like in the test race, someone drove here and they got bumped. We saw that happen to Lapis too. It's so over, it's all my fault. I'm so sorry, Lapis. I'm sorry that I made a terrible track. Yep. It never happened to me during testing, but I also didn't like really push it during testing. Like, I don't know. So I'm just gonna like lower the water or whatever. I don't know. It also might be because of boat utils. You might get popped up from the water might pop you up for a quick second, like how like you see like some of my previous episodes. Like if you like go into water, like it pops you up for a brief second sometimes, like that. You saw like how I got popped up and went down. It's like you might get popped up into the amethyst and like you do some weird bullshit step up thing or something, and then you hit the wall. Or I don't know. Yeah, it might just be the pop-up. You pop up into the wall and then hit the wall or something. You enter the wall from underneath and like you hit it and then yeah, so I'm going to deal with that. I also have to deal with it on the launcher because I use thirst gates on the launcher too. I probably use the same exact water level sadness. So that's a minor thing that should take like 10 minutes at most just to find the right water level and apply it. And then other things, I think I mentioned this earlier, Blip Dash got stuck for like 8 seconds or some bullshit right here. He landed right here. I don't know how he reacted or anything, but I'd imagine it was not a good reaction. Like, not like what he said, but like how it was like, oh, I'm right here. What do I do? He turns a little bit and turns the other way, and then or some bullshit. I don't know. Again, it's been months. I don't know if I said in this recording. It's been months since I like worked on this section. I have no idea what this is for. But like I know that like, you know, this area is right here just in case like you have a lot of velocity to the side. I think it was to prevent you from doing. I think it was to punish you for trying to like just like throw yourself into this corner and then like go down. Like I wanted to punish you for trying to hit this apex intentionally. So part of that was like I needed to deal with like, well, if you just like if I just like extend this wall like this, right, then you can just like, you don't even have to like hit the deep state. You can actually just like drive over here, and then like, you know, that'd be faster, right? I think that's faster. Like you know, it's faster to just drive in this corner because of your direction of travel compared to like hitting like right here, right? So that's why this is here, but I don't know if I needed this. Like, so I'll look into this a little more later. So that's one minor thing. The other minor thing is a skip that like Iltoza found. And for that, I'm just gonna do stone. Bonk, done. Awesome. That's cool. I built. That means I have to record this time in my thing. And, yep. So what they basically did, people, I don't know if everyone understands what they did. They did not drive through this. What they did is that they like approached and then they stepped on the stone and did that basically, but at higher speeds. They actually cut across the whole thing, which lets you just cut the apex, right? Which is obviously faster. But not even by too much, honestly. Like they PB'd afterwards. They gained like, actually I don't know. It might have been actually a lot. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, it's gone now. L. Again, that's just again like I was saying over here. Like it's a boat utils track and there's elevation. Like it's just like there's gonna be skips and like I just need to try my damnedest to prevent them. Right. So yeah, I'm honestly surprised there weren't more. Which is good, I guess. Either that means either I did a good job or people didn't look hard enough. But clearly there was something that slipped through the cracks. Anyways, yeah. So that's done. Got them. Yeah. So those are all the things I want to change, or like at least look into. There might be other things I'm forgetting. Hopefully not. I think I tried to write everything down. Yeah. Cool. Alright. That's it. Thanks for watching. Time to actually do work. Oh my goodness. Bye.